So I thought I'll go through some latest acquisitions in the market and see if you like those videos. So for example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vista Equity, which was one of the largest private equity firm in the world. They're buying software companies and they're basically having a centralized operations to help all the companies that they buy with marketing, with technology, with operations, with finance. And it's interesting. They just say right now that they're buying Pluralsight, which is a software company, and that's a public company as well, right? They're buying it for $22.5 per share in cash through a tender offer. That's really interesting. So usually when you see public companies buying other companies, many times they buy those companies not just with cash, but with shares of their own company. That's the beauty of going public. That's why a lot of companies go public, is because they can use the equity of their company as a currency to go out there and buy other companies. So really interesting. And a tender offer basically in the public market is a competitor offer. I guess they had other people looking into it. PayPal to buy Israeli digital asset security provider Curve. Is it Israeli? That's a really interesting news. PayPal Holdings Inc. said on Monday it would buy Israeli-based digital asset security provider Curve as the payment processor looks to strengthen support to cryptocurrencies. Wow, cryptocurrencies, acquisitions, that's interesting if you see acquisitions in the cryptocurrency space. I mean, a lot of people ask me, what do I think about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, all that world? I think it's the future. I think that right now we're pretty much looking at the cryptocurrency space as if we're in the 90s of the .com bubble pretty much. So a lot of those ICOs, cryptocurrencies are just going to go down. Some of them will succeed, but it's super interesting to see that there are legit companies in the space, and there are already big companies who are going out there and buying some of those companies, because at this point, not as much as like a year ago or 2 years ago, but just by you buying into companies in that space, it's immediately increasing the share price of those companies. So yeah, I'm looking. PayPal said in October last year it would allow customers to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency in its online wallets. That's big. How big is that to the cryptocurrency space? And how big is that to the acquisition space, where we see already companies buying, like legit companies in that space? Then there's another interesting news here. CEO expect to close broadband spin-off by end of Q2. Spin-off, for those of you who don't know, is basically kind of like a carve-out. So a lot of companies, when they have a lot of different departments and a lot of different subsidiaries, which is basically a company under the holding company. So many times if the company is not growing as much as the CEO wants and the shareholder wants, what they do is they spin off and sell different subsidiaries that are not specifically related to the main core function of the business. So that's potentially what happened here. So let me go through that. That's actually a Spanish regional telecom operator, Euskaltel, I hope I pronounced it right, will spin off its broadband infrastructure unit and sell a minority stake by end of second quarter. Its CEO said in an interview on Monday, through the operation, the group is seeking to free up cash to boost its retail mobile phone business behind its regional base in northern Spain. That's interesting. It's just to show you there are acquisitions all over the world. I don't care where you're at, which country, Europe, US, Canada, Australia, like we're looking at acquisitions all over the world. And there you go, acquisitions like $1 billion deals in Spain. So they're saying that's in northern Spain, sell wholesale broadband service to rival operators developing 5G networks. Chief Executive Jose Miguel Garcia. 5G networks, that's another really interesting sector to get yourself into, right? If you're thinking about what sector you want to buy companies at, obviously it's exciting. And then he's saying, I believe we can complete this operation in the second quarter. He said, though he declined to give details about the size of the deal. Yeah, so that's something that's happening many times in those, especially if it's a small company compared to the company that buys them, they don't have to disclose everything. Let's see what other interesting news we have today. Let me know in the comments below if you like those kind of videos, if you like me to just go through some acquisitions news and to kind of like share my thoughts on some of those acquisitions, why they buy those companies. For those of you who don't know, like a lot of companies, that's the way they grow. Like if you look at Facebook, they bought WhatsApp and Instagram, and if you look at Google, they bought YouTube and other companies that are now basically their main moneymaker. Like if you look at Google, their biggest revenue source is their advertising and Google AdSense, and those are companies that they bought that then rebranded into working with Google, right? With Google AdSense, etc. So let me know in the comments if you like that, and I can do more of those. So McAfee to sell enterprise business for $4 billion. That's interesting for those of you who don't know. John McAfee is the founder, and from what I understood, he's in jail right now for some ICO Bitcoin scams. But that company, the antivirus thing, for those of you who probably own some of those softwares, they still a big company that listed in Nasdaq, and they're just saying McAfee Corp said on Monday it would sell its enterprise business to a consortium led by Symphony Technology Group for $4 billion in cash, sending the cybersecurity firm shares up nearly 3%. That's not too bad for a multi-billion-dollar company to go 3%. The deal, subject to customary regulatory approval and closing conditions, is expected to close by end of this year, McAfee said. That's the thing with public companies. You have a lot of things to disclose, a lot of regulatory stuff. That's why, at least for me, with the things that I'm doing, I prefer to stay private, because you don't need to tell anyone anything. It's just a matter of kind of like, what do you want to play? You want to play with the biggest guys? Guess what? Most likely you'll need to go public eventually, especially if you want to get access to more different types of capital, because when people see you as a public company, they see you as a more legit company that have auditory financials. You have a lot of processes to work on to get yourself into to become a public company. So when investors and institutions are looking to put in capital and they see you as a public company, just gives you much better chances to get some of that capital. Goldman Sachs and Co. LLC and Morgan Stanley acted as financial advisors to McAfee, while Robson Gray LLP served as legal advisors. And that's really cool to see some of those news. You see who are some of the biggest investment banks in the world. You see who worked on that. So Goldman Sachs, obviously one of the big guys. Morgan Stanley, one of the big ones, working with Robson Gray as the legal company. UBS Investment Bank also, and Bank of BofA Securities acted as financial advisors. So it's really interesting to read some of those news, because you can see a lot of those financial institutions and investment bankers that you can potentially reach out to if you want to do some of those deals, right? So when people ask me, okay, I want to do deal in X sector, right? So in cybersecurity or whatnot. So guess what? If you read news on companies in that sector, you can quickly find out who are the lawyers that they deal with, who are the investment bankers that they deal with, who are some of the investors and financial institutions that they deal with. And if you are in that sector, you want to get yourself in that sector, then that's a great way for you to start getting yourself into the knowing and checking what's up, and just working with the similar, with the same type of advisors, the same type of lawyers, and those people could help you find deals, negotiate deals, raise capital, and it will help you get yourself into those type of businesses much faster. Bill Gates backed Evolve to go public via blank check merger. Wow, in a $1.7 billion deal. That's fascinating, man. So Bill Gates backed crowd safety technology provider Evolve Technology will go public through a merger with a blank check company in a deal that values the equity in the combined company at around $1.7 billion, the company said on Monday. That's amazing. That's insane. So for those of you who don't know, blank check merger company is basically a SPAC. It's a special purpose acquisition company. It's the opportunity to invest in a company that will then go and buy another company. So you literally create a company, a new entity, just for the sake of going and buying another company. So it's saying here, the deal with New Hold Investment Corp will provide the merged entity with $470 million in proceeds, including a private investment of $300 million. Not too bad, eh? What would you do with the $300 million? Let me know in the comments below. What would you do? What kind of company would you buy? I know a lot of people, Gates is kind of like all over the place right now in the news with different conspiracies, but it's interesting to see that it is still out there, backing companies, investing in companies. I don't know what specifically that company is going to do or what the company is going to buy, but it's just interesting to see. Beside Microsoft co-founder Gates, Evolve is also backed by venture capital firm General Catalyst. The Waltham, Massachusetts-based firm used AI technology and sensors to screen people in the public spaces, including stadiums, hospitals, school and entertainment venues, eliminating security gaps presented by metal detectors, according to its website. Interesting. So that's just to show you, with everything that's going on right now around the world with the virus, oh man, we're not going to have a lot of privacy right now because that's the company, that's what they're doing. AI technology and sensors to screen people in public spaces, including stadiums, hospitals, school, and entertainment. Well, if you thought that you're going back to normal after this virus, I'm sorry, we're not. But it looks like, we're going to get checked much more than before. So that's going to be really, really interesting. So to summarize this video, I think, let me know if you like those videos. I mean, it's really interesting. I just like to go through some of those news anyway, so I might as well just create a video. Bill Gates is going through an AI company that's going to check everyone even more on stadiums and everywhere you go to. McAfee is selling kind of like a subsidiary, it sounds like, for a few $1 billion, for $4 billion. Then we have another CEO in Spain to broadband spin-off. That's cool as well. PayPal to buy a technology asset security provider carrying the cryptocurrency space. Israeli company, yep. And Vista Equity, one of the largest private equity firm in the world, technology firm, is to acquire Pluralsight with $22.5 per share. So those are the news for today about acquisitions. Let me know if you like it, and I'll continue to do more of those. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, like, subscribe, and let me know what you want me to talk about, or what you want to maybe me to share about, maybe about some of those deals. If you want to know, I don't know, just any other information on why they're buying these companies and what are their plans maybe on buying these companies, let me know, and I can expand on that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.